What
We can do
beautiful
this.
Caribbean island is outside the hurricane belt? You can visit a beach all morning and hike in the rainforest in the afternoon, and the air smells like aromatic spices. Find out on this week's episode of 3D Travelcast.
You're watching 3D TravelCast with Sandy, Wendy, and CB. We'd love for you to click subscribe and join us weekly as we deep dive into adventures, people, food, and fun all over the world.
One more time. Travel opens us up to new memories, disrupts our worldview, and helps us become a better version of ourselves. And sometimes, if we're blessed, it changes our hearts. When I visited Grenada, my heart changed. I would lie in bed after a long day exploring and Google ways to move my family there. It impacted me so deeply. Grenada. So excited to talk about it.
So, Carol Beth, can you explain why it is so impactful to you? Is it even possible to describe that?
Yeah, this is hard. This is actually our second time, audience, by the way, that we're discussing some of this because we started it and we had a technical glitch. So that is going to give us the giggles sometimes just because we're repeating a conversation. Right. But we won't for long. I'll just go back to the question. So you're asking me if it's possible for me to describe it.
That's right.
Wow, David, I feel like just the editing part after we're done, David's just going to go, I don't know what's left. You recorded 30 minutes and it's a 3-minute podcast. I feel like that's what's going to happen when he's done today.
Start over. Because we can absolutely start over.
I enjoy it. I think that people need to know us for who we are. Okay. Would you like to ask me that question again, though? That's what they do, right?
I would absolutely love to ask you that question. Carol Beth, do you think it's possible to describe why that is, why it was so impactful to you?
Yes, I would love to describe why that is. Okay, so from first arrival, there is something incredible about Grenada. It's a beautiful airport. It's a beautiful everything, every step of the way. Everywhere you look is gorgeous, and we're going to talk about that, but the most deeply impacting for me anywhere I go is the people and the culture, and the way it makes you feel, right? Like Maya Angelou said, right. You don't remember, people remember how you make them feel. And definitely Grenada made me feel a certain way. It made me feel like I was visiting something authentic. Mm-hmm. When you go some places, it may be incredible and it's a great experience and you feel like you're trying really neat samples of food and you're getting a sample of the culture and you're getting a sample of this. But it's not often that you can take a short visit somewhere and feel like you're authentically there and you're present in that moment with those people. And that is absolutely what I felt from the moment I got there, that they weren't putting on a show, that it wasn't a cookie luau in Hawaii that the Hawaiians would complain about, but that they were actually really happy with what they were showing me in their culture because it was authentic to who they were. And it was amazing. Their culture is incredible. Like I said, I am deeply impacted. And if something comes across my feed, you know how you click on something? Well, now there's just in the last month or so when I've been doing research to make sure that I don't say anything wrong, I've been introduced to these different channels to look at and different reels to look at. And it's consistent with what I met and what I saw, which makes my heart feel good. So what I saw, the biggest thing, besides all that we're going to talk about the beaches and the rainforest and the distance and all those from the airport that everything is, because there's so many reasons to visit. But what I saw was that their sense of national pride, the way it manifested was how clean everything was, how safe everything was. And I don't mean chemically clean. I mean, when you went through the poor areas where people didn't have very much money, you didn't see trash all around the houses. You saw gardens all around the houses. And they smelled wonderful. And you saw the people interacting with each other. And when we would stop somewhere to walk across this little road in order to go visit these local citizens who were going to show us all the amazing things that they grow, and we could see how it really is to live there and why it smells the way it does, like nutmeg and cinnamon and just incredible things on the breeze. People would leave the keys in the car and walk across the road and just not think anything of it. and they were taking care of each other, and they would take care of us. We walked down to a waterfall, and there was young men who said, "Do you want to pay us money to jump in the waterfall?" And of course, they were trying to make a buck. They were like young adult men or older teenage boys, whatever that age. We can't really tell where they're skinny. They don't have men bodies yet, and they're running around and they have more energy than they should. And they wanted us to pay them some cash to jump in the water because it was scary looking. And I looked and I was like, "No, I'm good. Thanks." So he waited a few minutes. He said, "I'm just going to jump in anyway." I said, "Of course you are. That's good." That was the conversation. It wasn't him pressuring me into trying to give him money. He wasn't part of a greater industry of making you feel pressured. He just saw opportunity with the whole bunch of Americans and other citizens. Well, we were citizens from multiple countries walking down to the waterfall that was beautiful, and he knew what to ask. And I'm sure some people are like, "Yeah, I'll pay you to jump in there," especially men. Men will pay each other. So it is hard to describe, but I think the authenticity is the biggest piece of the puzzle for me of why it was so special for me.
Did you feel like, because you described how clean and welcoming some islands you go to, and everything feels laid back, but they're on their own time. Did it feel like that? Like it was Grenada time, and things are going to happen when things happen? Because I noticed that in a lot of Caribbean islands.
It's probably true. And I just visited the very end of last year, and I visited multiple Caribbean islands, and I think that I was already adjusted. So I have to stop and think about it. So, and there's a juxtaposition sometimes when I travel because I go for corporate meetings, but then I'm also get to do touristy things. And so you have to really be on time at this thing, but then you all get there and then you wait till they're done. They serve you.
They're ready.
So you have to transition to that Caribbean mindset. So it probably so. I know we had a tour guide and he would take us from place to place, and it never felt like he was in a hurry, because that's the flip side of Caribbean time. People talk about the negative, that, you want to be served dinner as quickly as you are, fast food in the United States, which ain't going to happen. And so they talk about that like it's a negative. But the flip side is that if they're touring you, they never make you feel rushed or like you're bothering them. And so I definitely can attest to the fact that that is true. And when we went in places to shop, everyone, we started talking to a sweet lady that had never, she's she had 4 generations in her family, and you could not tell. Like we had to ask her like how old she was, and English is everyone's fluent in English there. So she was able to tell us she didn't know what a credit card was. She didn't know what the internet was, and she didn't know what cell phones were. And she did not care. There's no,
a bit.
It's amazing. Well, you could tell that it wasn't something that she was disdained in any way in their culture because of that it was acceptable to not be dialed into technology. And she instead was super excited to tell us about her children and her grandchildren and her great-grandchildren. And I didn't feel badly for her that she was working. She was excited to be greeting us and showing us and proud of her country and her heritage. And so it was a really special thing. And then kids are running around. If you want to go back to that feeling you have if you are an 80s kid, and you want to go back to that feeling, I think that was part of it too. That I got to have that feeling like it was safe for kids to run out their door and go visit the waterfall.
That's lovely.
I mean, it's just, I know, it makes your heart hurt a little, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. We've become a people of how fast can we get there? How fast can we do this? How much can we do? How much can we have? Yeah. And then a people that are on that Caribbean time, that don't care about the internet, that don't care about the credit cards. I think that's in a way, to me, that would be the goal. That would be the goal.
Yes.
Well, the biggest thing that I hear about at Grenada is that underwater sculpture park.
Yeah,
so,
literally the biggest.
Yeah, that's what I hear about. So tell us about that and the other ocean experiences that are there as well.
So the ocean experience I didn't get to have, that I would like to time it, is to see the leatherback turtles and they travel up to 10, I had to look this up, travel up to 10,000 miles a year to lay their eggs. So they start their journey as far away as Nova Scotia or Alaska to build a nest on, I hope I'm not butchering this, Lavera Beach in Grenada. And it is world renowned for these turtles and what they do for them. So that's amazing. What's under the water is amazing. And they're outside of the hurricane belt, and it's a calm area. It didn't fully impact me how much climate consistency could affect your quality of life, honestly, until I went to a part of Canada. And there's an island, and I just lost the name of it. It's not, I wanted to say Acadia National Park, but I love it. V. It starts with a V. Well,
are you talking about Victoria?
Yes, thank you. Like the Queen. Okay. Yeah. Victoria. So they have a steady climate that only shifts a few degrees, and you get to count on that year round. And there's a chill in the air. So it's like a permanent fall. It's crisp. It's beautiful. And I realized this does something for me therapeutically, that I don't have to wonder what the weather's. Of course, I live in Texas, where it could be 4 seasons in a day. But it's the same thing there, and it's a mild summer is what is there all the time. So that's gorgeous. And then the fact that that affects your ability, you can swim year round, and then that the waters are not, there's not huge waves, it's not choppy. I'm making it sound ideal because it is a little bit. And because it's outside of the hurricane belt, so you can plan to travel there with almost 100% chance that you're going to get to go, because you don't have to worry about hurricanes even during hurricane season. And then, of course, there is the underwater sculpture park, which is one of the most, I'm so sorry, David, is one of the most terrifying things that I've ever done in my life. Oh, I brought it closer so you could listen to it. I will start that sentence over. So the underwater sculpture park was one of the most terrifying things I've ever done in my life. Not because of the sea, but because you are swimming over these things. And I wasn't scared. It was just, I saw the potential in being afraid. Like, I'm not scared of spiders, but I totally get why other people would be. And when they are, I respect them, and I'm the spider removal person, right?
Right.
I was not scared, but I think it's something you might want to consider when there is a sculpture the size of a building underneath and you're snorkeling across the top of it. And I always talk about the lady who's like reaching up. It's all historic moments in Grenada, right? And I don't know what she is. I should have looked her up. But she's like reaching up. And so you swim, and it takes a long time to swim over her. And the whole time it looks like this, whitish lady is calling you down into the deep. It's just kind of...
Oh, wow. I don't
It's
know
something.
that I want to go into the deep.
Yes. And I told her no, because that's, I was under the water and I could. But, I just went and swam over her. And it's, it's mild. It's a very mild tow. But what ended up happening for us, that I'm sharing for the first time on 3D TravelCast, is that we snorkeled for quite a while, and we were going with the current, but it was a mild current, like I said. So you couldn't even tell that we probably all just thought we were swimming really well that day. And we got pretty far away from our boat. Come to find out, the gentleman that stayed behind actually navigated and said, "You got to get closer to these ladies. They're getting really," like, he lost sight of us for quite a while. And it feels like open ocean. Like, you can see, you're not near anything except like a random mountain thing sticking out of the water. Like, it's not like you can swim over to the beach, is what I'm saying, or the even land.
Right.
So you're out there in the middle of the ocean. And again, like I said, I'm good with it. At no point in time was I nervous, and everything was fine. And I think that should be the preface before I share this story. So you have to get a visual. We're on a yacht, and on this yacht, we're going out and around, and there's these very, very skinny gentlemen were helping us. By helping, I mean they were shooting around the water and telling us, pointing, "Look at the lady," or "Look at this," or whatever that, or "Go that direction," or whatever. And they swam around with us, and they were fine. They were not winded at all. And we were a group of people in the travel industry. So, ladies, you can confirm for me, what's the average walking for a person who's in the travel industry, unless they choose to walk on purpose? How many steps?
Regular business day?
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, 2,000.
Oh,
It's
no,
like that's
even less.
is yours even less? Oh really? Oh, okay.
Well, we did a
know, it's not a
comparison at
lot.
one of the things recently, and there's some who average 350 to 500 steps a day.
Oh my.
wow.
I know.
It is a
That was a
very
surprise to me.
sedentary career.
Yeah.
Okay.
It can be.
So now imagine you take, like 6 of those people in the industry and you plop us in the water and we swim for an hour. And then you turn again and you face the current, swim back to the yacht. It was something, but we were
I'm
determined.
sure.
And I think that I was we'll just say the most buoyant of the group. So, and that's, there was a lot of buoyancy there because, again, we're all from the industry, but I think I was the most buoyant with the shortest legs. I said that to say I started out at the tip of the V heading back to the yacht. And then it turned into a line, and then it turned into a V the other direction. And then I realized I was going backwards.
Oh my goodness.
Farther
I know.
down the boat.
Yeah, so I stopped. I mean, I have a lot of swimming experience, and and you shouldn't have to have a lot of swimming experience probably, but I congratulated myself. I knew to stop right now and call the attention of the little skinny guys swimming around and go, somebody should probably know that I'm not going to make it back, that I am just I'm just treading. I'm using all my effort and I'm just treading. And it's still like, two city blocks away. Probably between us and the yacht. So it was not a small distance. So there was a committee meeting, and the 2 little guys got onto the little rafty thing, and it has a little motorboat, it's like a little inflatable motorboat, and they brought it around to me, and then the little skinny guy reaches his hand down like he was going to pull me up into the boat. And I mean, that was not going to happen. I would have just flung him into the ocean behind me. He'd have gone sailing over my shoulder and into the deep, which he realized after I pointed it out to him. So ultimately, great big guy, the actual ship captain, pulled me up onto the boat, and I found out it happened to everybody. But it was an exciting day for me there in Grenada in the
That
ocean.
is an exciting day.
Yeah. Yes. Does it make you want to go? Does it make you all nervous at all about doing it?
No, I still want to go.
I mean, I still want to
was-
see the sculpture park. It does kind of freak me out thinking about looking at someone standing there holding their arms up towards me, but I still
The
want to
rest of them are cool. That's just the one you'll
I
remember.
still want to go. I don't care. I'm
Yeah.
going.
I'll go with you. We'll have to go. Yes.
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good. Something that you did talk, you mentioned very quickly, but you went right over it. I want to talk about the rainforest because I'm not the biggest beach person. So
Yeah.
I love an island with more than just beach. So can you tell me about the rainforest?
I think the biggest thing, I don't think I've ever been to a rainforest before. I mean, is it possible that I missed one, that I've walked in one and I didn't realize it?
I don't know.
This-
I don't think so.
I don't think that I have been in one, which sounds like a crazy thing to say, except it was not as noisy as like the ones you watch on the Nature Channel. Like when they show it on the Nature Channel, it's like they'll show a bug up close and he's like chewing a leaf, and you can hear the bug chewing the leaf, and then you can hear all the little frogs, and then you can hear the bigger animals and bigger and bigger and bigger. It wasn't as loud, but we went during the day too. I don't know that I'd want to be down there at night. But what's incredible is you can go from the beach to the rainforest in 20 minutes.
Oh,
which
wow.
is
See,
amazing.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love the diversity of landscape. I think that is the perfect mix.
Yeah. There's mountains, there's rainforest, there are the beaches, and then like I said, it smells like spices. So it is kind of surreal how mythical and mystical this island is. They have what's called the Mona monkey, which is not indigenous to Grenada. It was brought over, they think, from a ship, but now it is taken over the island. They have monkey hunting season. So monkeys and iguanas are 2 of the meats that the locals eat. It is not like when you go to Peru and they offer you cuy and everybody goes and tries the guinea pig. At no time where we offered monkey meat or lizard meat. I think that helps sometimes for people. That's another thing.
Because I think I'm going to turn that down.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think I want to eat a monkey.
some people are scared of spiders. I'm positive some people would be scared that they might accidentally eat monkey meat. Like I get it. There's certain things that we don't want to eat as Americans. But you can call them down out of the trees. So you can walk in and You can have your bananas, or our guide had bananas with him, and he called them down out of the trees, and they'll come eat them from your hands.
Cool.
And where you walk into is a reserve, so you know that these, if these monkeys stay where they're supposed to, then they shouldn't get killed if everybody's following the law. So it was a really neat experience.
I love that.
That sounds really neat.
Yeah. I think y'all would love it so much. Now, I have talked other people into going, and they said it's not as magical as you said it would be. I'm just going to be honest. But again, that's, yeah, I mean, it all comes down to, your experience. I could go and not have as magical of a time, not because those things didn't exist, but because I got to taste and touch enough of them for it to impact me. So it's up to you, but I think it's worth going. You won't regret going. You should go stay a long time.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really want to get to Grenada. It's on my list.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I already mentioned this, but what I love more than anything in Grenada, and I think you can agree there's a lot, is that it's out, not even that it's outside the hurricane belt, or that it smells like spices, or that I never have time to get car sick, which is awesome. It is definitely the people. So the people and their gardens was one of the most special things. I'm not even someone who can garden. Like, I'll kill anything. But just seeing what they have done and that it grows into the landscape. Of all things, it actually reminded me of Coco. The movie Coco, where everything is woven together, and it's just, the culture is just woven through everything. When they cross over and you still see everything from the Mexican culture all over everything. It felt like even their gardens had their culture woven into it,
Wow.
So it's just, again, it's a magical place. Yeah. What do y'all think?
I love that.
Like, what makes you want to go?
What are they growing in their
So,
gardens?
well,
Is
they
it a
showed,
variety?
there's probably 20, 30 different things that were there. So we saw cinnamon, and there was, how do you say it?
That's
Is it
cool.
cacao beans? Cacao?
Cacao?
Yes. Yeah, the chocolate. I was afraid I'm
So
going to get that
cool.
wrong. What gets turned into chocolate. And then nutmeg, like I said. And like, that was the gift I was given when I got there, was a little basket of spices. And some of them are things that you're used to, like bay leaves and different things like that. But there was such a strong, pungent smell to each of them. And it was a little bit different than what you're used to. So if you get a chance to get spices from there, you do cinnamon and nutmeg. Most of the time you're getting it from Grenada, because it's the major exporter for the entire world. So that is,
Yeah, I do think that that's one of the things that fascinates me about Grenada, is that, it's known as the Spice Island. And so I really did wonder if you could smell, just being outside, if you could smell the spices, but apparently you can.
Yeah, not everywhere, but there was my balcony. I stayed at Sandals while I was there. Gorgeous place. Loved the entire management there. But my balcony, which wasn't a balcony, it was like a little patio. My patio was not facing the ocean. And at first I was sad. That's, you think you go to a resort on an island, you want to face the ocean. But it was around a pond. And the iguanas that were in that pond were amazing. And they're just, hanging out. They're not aggressive. I don't know what happens with different iguanas. They weren't aggressive like the iguanas. I don't know if you've ever noticed in the British Islands. That they will actually come up to you and ask for food a little bit aggressively. No, which is good, because like I took a bath on my balcony with the curtain, so I would not like it if like a big iguana came up and said howdy, right there but it was really neat that they were just hanging everywhere, and they were on the roofs, and they were on the little bridge that I walked on to go over the water in order to get back to the rest of the resort. So that was a unique experience for a Sandals resort too. I've never seen anything like that at any other Sandals resort that I've been to.
That is very cool.
Experience.
Yeah.
I am not an ocean view person,
Yeah?
because I feel like it doesn't change. I like to see wherever I'm at. I want the inside, where I'm looking at whatever part of the island we're on, so I can see what you're seeing, and you paint a really pretty picture of that. That's what I want to see.
You would love this. You would love this. It was, when you go as a travel professional, you don't know where they're going to put you. And so there were people put in all different places, and I found myself to be really pleased with where I was. Now, there was a lady that was from the marketing department of Sandals who was staying next to me, and she wasn't as pleased because she's terrified of lizards. So I felt like somebody should move that poor sweet girl. But, you can decide. If you actually book a room, you can decide what you're going to look at. Yeah.
Yep.
So it was a great experience. It
Sounds
really
like
was.
I think my favorite thing that I learned while you were talking about Grenada is the diversity of the landscape, because that is what I look for in an island. I get bored with a beach, I get bored with an ocean view, but if I have mountains and rainforests and waterfalls, then I'm a happy girl.
Yeah, and I think once again, I'm coming back to the spices. I just find it so fascinating. So I loved hearing that you can actually smell them on the island in certain
awesome.
places. So
Yeah.
love that.
That's great.
That is cool.
Well, I have loved sharing Grenada, my love for Grenada, with you, Sandy Barnes and Wendy Armstrong, and I'm Carol Beth Scott. This is 3D TravelCast. Until next time.